Hey, good morning, my fellows. I want to keep this as short as possible because it's real easy to go on all day about this. When I got woken up and discovered Dolores Cannon and read her my first book, Dolores Cannon book, was Jesus in the Essenes. So it talks about the life of Jesus from the testimony of a man named Sudi, and you get to learn all about what we know to be the Holy Family, so to speak, Mary and Joseph, because he was a Essene, so he was a member of Jesus. Yeshua was a Essene, so he was a member of that community. Yeshua ben Joseph by name, we know him to be Jesus. Um, and in her book, a group called the Kaloo was named as sort of advisors to Mary. They sounded very angelic in nature at the time, and she was working with if you were a child and you made a science project as a youth and you set up a solar system three-dimensionally, she had one constructed that was written about in that book, that she was Jesus in the Essenes by Dolores Cannon is the book. And when the crucifixion had occurred, there was narration in the book about her needing to disassemble this particular system, kind of to take it with her. And it was the advice on how to construct the system was from the Kaloo. So I'd like to propose that, since I've learned finally now that this is the essence of who the Kaloo are, I'd like to propose that like the three wise men would be considered a good example of them, because they came from where they came from and they were kings. So they were tied into this knowledge to be able to even be there at the time of the nativity, not for Herod, but for their purposes, because they were of this essence. If you look down here, this is real important, guys. It's really great info, so I'm going to do this as quickly as possible. This is Iran. This is him going back to Jerusalem and telling them, talking about Ra, and saying, oh, you got to turn your, you're almost right, but the king is not, you think you're that and you're riding that, and that's incorrect, king. And so he got shown the door on the way home. But, it's enlightenment for everybody. But this was in roughly Iran and Persia. And if you go to the Yazd corridor, you'll find them. We all know where Egypt is and the composition of what's there. That's the Olympic level competition for wisdom. And Thoth is there on the walls, as well as Isis and Hathor, which are Mary and Mary Magdalene. It's a two women that take turns. One's the mother, one's the teacher, but they really are of the same essence. And Yeshua was born into that, and currently you know the relationships. One is his maternal and one is his twin flame. And so that's a good place to be if you want to be coached. So I'll transition to that a little bit more. Really cool piece here that I'm sort of deducing. Dolores Cannon's a very important person in terms of crystals and angles and everything else. You can't tell the story here. You can't do Egypt without her. Plain and simple. So her point of origin in Andromeda was a planet called E Grigori X. So all I'm going to do is say that much right there. Pythagorean. You're into Dolores Cannon country. And who is Pythagoras? This guy was advanced math and all the angles of crystal, as well as what I'm about to transition to for you visually. But these were the Kaloo. So get on Facebook if you got that and go find this, and I'm going to do a lot more learning. I have not even gotten into the Essene library per se, because I do it my way, and then the truths all unfold themselves kind of from the outside in. Alright, so because the Kaloo are who they are, I want to express things to you in terms of time. If you look at this as a Solfeggio 432 forever, and imaginarily you walked into it, it's a time tunnel. And then you're walking through the middle of it, and you can look over now, and you can see things happening that are of a similar nature. All I tried to do is represent that by a smaller version of this. So you're going through here, and these kind of things are occurring because you can go, they're there for you to observe and see and know who was, and we, if you're watching this, you're in this rotation somehow in one of these roles based upon your awareness. If you've been down, now this is fourth density awareness. We voters have been in 3D, third density, third dimension. And time is, oh, time's a dimension too? Yeah, well, we talk about that. We look at it on our watch and we flat earth it. Well, I'm trying to explain that time's a dimension and get used to the idea of traveling through time. Like this is a way to observe it, one way of many. This is another way, which I'll speak to. But as far as the roles that are played, when you're walking through here and you're looking out in a direction of what's going on, you're in it and you're in one of these roles. Now, if you're down here at if you locked into a third density ride forever ago, to use a word, you're still eating cheeseburgers today and ribeye steaks, and you're going to TGI Fridays, and you're dead-ended there, and you don't want to get out of there. It's a free choice. So, in terms of awareness, you're the student that said, no, I like steak. It smells good, it tastes good, doesn't seem to hurt me. I'm working out tomorrow, and with a beer, it's like the perfect look at the nutrition. Bill, don't argue with me about the menu item that's protein-based, that's from the animal. It's a lot like me. So I get maxed out on the food chain as a carnivore, like a lion. So that's third density. You want to go, it be an extension of that. And think about the way lions operate on the planet right now, as opposed to the ones that don't. Because they aren't inspired that way, because they don't function with the need to that first. It's said that the animals that just bend over without cupping their hands are the ones you want to ammo up. And they came with the dinosaurs, and they come with our animals, and everything's going to get cleaned up. But to get back to the Kaloo and the times that I'm speaking of, we, as humans, die with what we know. So now we're back. Atlantis, the competition that brought down Atlantis, has got to be relived, along with, to the extent that we have awareness, the period of Lemuria, 75,000 years ago, and who we were and who remained, as well as what's gone on in our Earth, which we'll all learn about, because the Agarthans are a very, they have to be considered our counterparts inside the surface. That's as close as I can describe them just in speaking to all this. So, from an awareness standpoint, we now, having moved to Atlantis was here, Lemuria was there, you were a coach then, you decided to come back, it's density and awareness. I personally have been told that, you're on other planets and you have assumed responsibilities and played roles on other planets, freely chosen, based upon everything you've learned. And I was a guy on Vega, and I was Arcturus, and I highly resonate with Aldebaran, positive. It's high speed, and it's all in everybody's tapestry. Dolores Cannon is on the Andromedian Council. And Daniel Scranton channels Arcturians. So from a consciousness standpoint, we can be the communications are there because we're all of our one true creator. And so, just to segue right now, because it's important to say, as a man who wants to take the easy way forward, this is it. I'm going to go back here and understand that the competition in Egypt is truly won by the Syrians and the Arcturians and the Andromedians, and if you want to include the Lyrians and others that have, and beings from Vega who have always stood for the light. You know, the components of the light are understood in the law of one and the Essene way. So eventually you learn all these things. Okay, so having said that, now we're in contemporary America and the contemporary Earth that's about to go to fourth density with us. And this particular lady named Kaia Ra channeled this book. Now, this is her. Don't forget what she looks like. Don't make any judgments on her because, you know, she might not be made up in this picture, so please forgive her. But needless to say, she's a very vibrant lady, and she very much emulates the team that she endorses. And she's been through a lot. So this is the name of her book, and I don't want to speak too much about it, except to say that both Mary and Mary Magdalene are represented there in living word testimony for you, not only expressed as who they were then, as real huggable beings, but who they were before that, as they lived that timeline as Isis and Hathor and taking turns to teach. The Statue of Liberty is a prior representation of Mary and Joseph. And then you have Mary and Yeshua. And that's that. This book is an introduction to our Creator, and her, through her, just expressed to make that linkage. I'm trying to tie this all together to make it easy for you when it gets cloudy out there. You don't have to memorize every word in this book. You just need to know, well, you should read it. I'm in the process of reading it. I'm lazy by nature, and I'm all over the intellectual globe right now trying to keep up with what's going on so I can provide real-time feedback to people who need it. But there's a meeting she's having in Texas next month, and I'll be there, and I'll be prepared to contribute to this, and I'll do it my way. And I feel very honored to have found this person in the book that's associated with it, knowing that we're going forward to transform the whole everything, plain and simple. Everything that you look up and see in the sky is going to be repaired by the leadership of Sirius and Sirius B, and our place that fits in here just by being aware of it. Because angels are ET, and they're up there right now, and if they're in fourth density, that means bilocation. That means they go eat Syrian lunch, and they meditate in the council, and they talk about us. Way so far advanced, get humble. So you're playing a role here through time. It's 2022, and we got an opportunity, and we're here, and you're learning right now. And I'm a coach. You know, I've been playing in this lineup for a long time. I was a scene. Okay, and the only reason it's not like let me timeline back myself to when I did whatever I did. I'll get there vibrationally and as a group so we can do it all. But I know that I was. So, because of that, I speak with my authority about who I was and where I fit along the timelines. And I'm not going to say I was Kaloo, but I have an awareness. I just explained to you about how Dolores Cannon fits in as a Pythagorean person because she's from E Grigori X. And it's just the analogies of the discernment that allow you to put together the team. And this is a team. And Dolores Cannon right now, she's a coach. She's a learner, teacher, coach, and living awareness right now. She talks to me. When I got oriented on my Merkaba, she said, stare at it. This is not a Merkaba. This is an elementary version of one in fifth dimension, which is where we're going on the angles. Okay, because it's all about a grid. So there's a dark grid and a light grid. And the Satan element of Saturn has implemented a grid that's designed around the 440 beat, nuclear technology, and murder and consumption of humans in cannibal, ritualistic, consolidated, concentrated places. So somehow I want to say guns and oil, but I'm going to lay off that. But there's women and men that are responsible for being aware of this, it hurting them in their feelings, and because of animals and the damage done, and they're bringing the light just by their awareness and their assembly on the grid. Our awareness is going to put it down when we do it the right way. So on the light side, we're going crystalline. It's been buried all over Gaia right now. I've described before that it's beneath Arkansas, 6 miles down. It's over in Lake Tahoe. It's down in Brazil. It's over in Telos and Shasta. And we'll find out that there's crystal all over the planet. And our planet's going to be adored again by us when we clean it up scientifically and excavate, and the angels that are here to help us. So this is an important object when it's drawn into perspective, because it's our ride to get around in imagination. And so there's nothing to fear, and I want to keep this short. If you got any questions, drop them in the appropriate place. And if you're confused about things, and this is all still a lot to sorry, checking my phone there. If it's a lot to take in, just buy the Sophia Code and start reading it. That's probably the smartest thing to do. Just because it's our Creator speaking through her channeling to you. And so it's all very important, the understanding that you have. And then Kaia Ra is on routinely on YouTube with her team, doing their enlightened journey together, and I'm routinely on there, kind of knocking on the door, and I can't wait for where we're going together. So meditate, drink water. I mean, Sam the Illusionist just did a channeling, and he had to sort of cut it short because he was a little bit dehydrated. So the Pleiadians, I believe, said, hey, Sam needs water, so we got to go. And obviously the energy that's associated with even going through a channeling is pretty, you have to have that lucidity of liquid in your body in order to make it work. So water's important. Meditate, drink water, forgive everything. When you hear how we got here, you can get lost in that. And trust. When the time comes, you need to know who's speaking to you. And if it's Ashtar, beware. I'm going to leave it at that. If Ashtar's staring you in the face and something wants to vapor you into a choice box that's like, okay, you look around and know who your team is, be careful. That's all I'm saying. The team is a Sophia Code, so get clarity. And then you're picking the right side of Egypt with the Marys and not Dalt, because he still gets his chance with your opinion. It is really that deep in your raising. What do you think? Republican or Democrat? Which one is better, conservative or liberal? they'll slice it and dice it, and it's all about you missing it with your choices. And so be on guard and talk to people that seem to know. And if, when you get good feedback from others in consultation, it's a form of confirmation for you that, okay, yeah, I'm on the right path, and you're not going to get hijacked in your dream state again, because that's coming. You're going to do that, either awake or dreaming, and you got those 3 shots of tequila in you and you had your good whatever. You're just not in the right place. It's not the right time to be, have a good time, be happy, be balanced your way. This isn't a call to, starvation, but it's a call to discipline and understanding that, hey, if you want to be, this is a chance. If you want to line up as an elite spiritual warrior for your creator, the one that put you here, then why wouldn't you do that? If you find out who the real ruler is, and that ruler is regulating everything for you, then why would you not want to be in rhythm with the thing that put you here, the being that put you here, the awareness that put you here, and go forward with that, because we're not done yet. So that's the message, and it's a good message. So meditate, drink water, be forgiving of you first, find out what your chakra are, clean it up. How do you feel about your neighbor? How do you feel about you? Well, it's you first. Your neighbor, our creator, loves you in your heart, and we're going to breathe forever. The analogy of the human is very simple to explain when you got only a certain amount of video, and you're starting to ramble. So put love in your heart and seek the truth, and slow down enough to the same old is there to take you back to where you were. So you always have to take that opportunity to see where's the judo being played, where's the flip, where's door number 2 of the subliminal greed of, oh, really? I'll be the, so you have to catch yourself and say, boy, let me make sure that I'm okay. And you'll know the ones that are out front, because you can just discern it. They're saying the right things, and the likeness of thought is there. Thought itself is a dangerous word because it's thought. So once you stop brushing with fluoride and do the right things, the clarity falls in place. And I've gotten that discipline going in my body. So I understand my mind from listening to angels that explain the biochemistry of how we're organized, with 440 ego here and 432 high self is over here, and this is the real me. And I'm telling you that when I'm suggesting to our creator, Abun, give to them what we have, so you can be like Yeshua, like I am. And I'm assured of that. I'm going to meet him. We're going to meet him here. So be excited, but you better be vibing up, because otherwise you're just going to miss it. You'll either be in a coffin, or you'll be on your way to one, having a heart attack, saying, it's a JFK Jr. It won't be JFK Jr. That's still in the mix for the dark side. I mean, they got some cards to play. These satanic lines get hijacked, and they are locked in, and the Kennedy's a bloodline. Even though I've forgiven, it's all forgiven. So I hope you learned something in this video. I hope it was colorful enough and informative enough to know that you have a good team, and you should look for good coaches and stick with them, because we're going a long way. So peace.